Hey folks, how you doing? Today I'm going to be putting together my Duralast 2-ton engine hoist. And while I realize this is probably not going to be the most exciting video in the world, you know, I had a very hard time finding information about engine hoists. So I thought it might be helpful to put this video up there. Now the reason I got this hoist is because I'm going to be doing an LS swap on my wife's 2010 CRV. Oh, no, I'm not. Actually, the reason I got this was because I need to take the bed off my pickup so I can go ahead and run a new brake line from the front to the back of the truck. There's really not a lot of information out there about engine hoists. I mean, basically, it seems like everybody's got a Harbor Freight Engine Hoist. I was considering buying an OTC Engine Hoist, which is about twice the cost of, all the other ones out there, the entry-level ones. But the OTC, I couldn't find one video, even by OTC, showing the hoist and what the features are of it. There's actually a Harbor Freight store and whatever store sells Duralast within walking distance of each other. And basically I went down to both those stores and looked at them both, and they both seem to be perfectly fine hoists. But there's one difference about this Duralast that I want to talk about at the end of the video. You got two boxes here, and one of them weighs 25.52 kilograms, which there's 2.2 pounds per kilogram. So let's say that's around 55 pounds. This box is fairly manageable, but this other box is 68.68 kilograms. We'll just make that a 70, so maybe 140, maybe 145 or so as far as the weight goes. So this is definitely a two-man lift. And I tried to be smart, and I just, slid it off the truck with a helper onto this cart to make it easy. In hindsight, it might have been easier to actually open the box at the store, take the pieces out one by one to make it easier to carry. If anybody's curious, the smaller box is about 31 inches long and about 21.5 wide and about 3.5 tall. The larger box is about 62 long, 12.5 wide, and 7 tall. Sweet! Directions! I'm not sure why, but it looks like these bolts that go through here came off. We'll just put them back on temporarily. My initial impressions are, wow, this is a heavy piece of metal. If we take this thickness gauge, I can't quite slide the 1/4 inch over here, so it's a touch more than a 1/4 inch. It's tough to get the gauge in here, but we can get the 3/16 on with a little bit of slack. This is what the contents of the other box look like. There's some random nuts and bolts in this box as well. The metal on the legs is smaller than 3/16, but larger than 10 gauge. Metal here on the tip of the crane is a little bit less than 3/16. The base of the crane is also a little less than 3/16. I just want to point out with this hoist that all the way back, the capacity is 2 tons. But when you've got the arm extended all the way, the capacity is 1 1/8 tons. And I think most of them, the capacity's 1 ton when you extend it all the way. Okay guys, we got everything unpacked and this is what comes in the box. I'm very happy with the way things came through shipping. I don't see any dings or scratches. The only question I have so far is I have this one washer and this nut, which unfortunately look like they should fit here, but the washer doesn't quite make it. And the nut, there's no way that that nut's gonna thread on. Step 1. Step 2. Step 3. Step 4. Step 5. I really want to install these 2 bolts through here as part of step 5, but the directions don't say to do so, and I think we all know what happens when we don't follow directions. Hello, this is future me coming back to tell past me that indeed this was the step I should have installed these bolts. Step 6, step 7, step 8, step 8, 2 more steps to go. I always get nervous at this point if I use the right size bolts in the right spots, or I'm going to have a random bolt in the last step that doesn't fit. Step 10. Step 11. I don't know. It just doesn't look like the picture. Oh! The distance between the casters at the front is about 35.5 inches. At the back is about 18.5, give or take. The length from the back of the frame to the end of the casters with the legs down is about 68 inches. The 2 casters in the front are fixed straight ahead, and the 4 casters in the back are swiveling. So you can swivel the back very easily, but when you're actually moving the weight, you're really only going to be able to move it forward or back, and then swivel the back wherever you want to go. It's got a little spot here to store the pump handle. And then just like any hydraulic pump, you just stick it on there, move it left to release it, right to tighten, and then go ahead and pump her up. It's not the fastest pump in the world, but compared to trying to lift an engine by myself, I can work with it. This is what the hoist looks like in the storage position. And I will admit it was a little bit tough to get the pins out on these longer legs. I think there's some trick with either using some leverage on the ends to take some of the weight off, or using a punch to punch out the pins. I haven't figured it out yet. Earlier in the video, I mentioned there was a feature I liked about this jack, which was the reason I bought it. And I just want you to notice how long this boom is. So when I was trying to make my decision, I did some math in the store, and if you measure from the center of this bolt, where the chain is, to the center of this bolt, you're getting about 43.5 inches of distance. And the competing crane I looked at, I was coming up with a number of 37. So this is going to give you a longer reach, and also notice when it's fully extended, it's got a 1 1/8 ton lift capacity. When I was doing my research, I watched a video by a guy who used this very crane to remove pickup beds, and he said he usually chooses this one because of that longer arm. So that's literally why I bought this crane. If you can do me a favor, if you have a shop crane or an engine hoist, if you can just put it all the way out and measure from the center of the bolt the chain hooks to the bolt right above where the hydraulic cylinder is, and just put that down below. Put what the lift capacity is at the longest length and what that distance is, And I love to compare because it's really hard to find a good comparison. All right, guys, well, we got everything together, and I'm happy to say that it really wasn't a big deal. I mean, with anything you put together, you scratch your head a few times. There's some missteps along the way, and I did have to go out and buy one nut and washer. I had enough nuts and washers, but one of the nuts was actually the wrong size. I couldn't get it on the bolt. When I was putting this together, I saw a couple spots that mentioned Torin Manufacturing. If you're wondering who manufactures this, the warranty and the directions talks about Torin Manufacturing. If you look at the pump, it says that the pump is made by Torin Manufacturing. And Torin Manufacturing I recognize because they're the company that also makes the jacks for Tractor Supply. So I do have a 20-ton jack back there on the workbench that was made by Torin Manufacturing, and this little handle fits that jack perfectly. I think I might actually end up using this handle for that jack as well, because this has got a much better handle. All right, guys, well, that's going to wrap this one up. I don't really have anything to lift at the moment, so I can't tell you how it performs when lifting. I assume it's going to do the job perfectly fine, and I also know I'm going to be very careful to never put any part of my body underneath the crane or anything being lifted while I'm lifting it. Overall, I'm quite pleased with the purchase, and I look forward to putting it to use. Thanks for watching today, guys, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. To put the legs in the storage position, all you need to do is pull this pin, pull this pin, to put the legs in the storage position, all you gotta do is pull this pin, lift the leg a little bit. To put the jack in the storage position, all you need to do is bring the boom all the way back, pull this pin, take a little bit of weight off the legs so you can pull these pins,